There are many mistakes that you should not make in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I want to go over many of them. Like, I, for example, did not know that my inventory was full, because even if you have the maximum of 99 of an item, when you pick something up, it will still disappear. So if you're not paying attention to the notification, you think that you've grabbed it, but the pop-up actually says unable to obtain with a slightly longer message. So smart to often craft some items with these very common resources. Although later on in the game you don't really need the potions that you can craft with these items, so then it's way faster to, every time you come across a vending machine, sell the materials that you have 99 of or are close to maxing out. So I just sell 20 or 25 so I can always pick up these items in the future and get some nice money in the process. And speaking of vending machines, I mostly skipped them because I did not think I would need more items, but it's actually worth checking them each time for their unique discounts. And these are different each time and can be very helpful. I never had guild issues during my playthrough, as I also did side quests here and there, while I was using quite some items in the later game fights. So getting them for less money is really great. There are of course also specific weapon vendors, and how these work is that you're able to buy weapons here that you missed during the main missions. You probably already encountered many very obvious purple chests with weapons in them, but if you miss them, as sometimes you do need to go off the beaten path, they can buy them later at one of these weapon shops. But yeah, good to know that there won't be any new weapons here. Of course, still worth checking if you missed any, and while you can, after finishing the game, go back to chapters with chapter select, I would argue that just buying them is the fastest way to get them, and they can also immediately unlock the weapon ability. And a mistake I made is not immediately focusing on unlocking a weapon ability after getting a new weapon. Of course, when you unlock a weapon ability, you can always use it also when switching to a different weapon. So as soon as you get a new weapon for a character, equip it and then just spam the move until you've mastered it, so they always have the ability available. Of course, put that character in your active party if he or she wasn't already, or you can unlock the weapon abilities during sections where you are forced to control certain characters. It's of course smart to look at the proficiency bonus to unlock the weapon ability faster, although just spamming the ability will in the end unlock it as well. So yeah, do this ASAP so they can also switch back to the weapon that you actually like in terms of stats. And totally subscribe, as we will do a guide for weapons very soon, and of course if you found the video helpful so far, leaving a like would really help me out. When doing the open world activities, you of course find the chocobo stops, where you can also rest by using a cushion, but it's way smarter to just fast travel back to a location that has a bench where you can rest for free. In the grasslands, that's Oliver's farm. In Junon, you can go to Gabe's ranch over here on the map. So always remember these spots in the different regions, and they will never need a cushion again. There are also some settings that will make exploration easier. I already told you about the mini-map for the open world in my previous video that you can turn on via the gameplay settings. And here you can also find the action guide and turn that on. Now you will have this white arrow appear if you are able to climb over certain terrain. So really handy. Like, we obviously cannot climb these fences, but the one next to it we can. So then you see the white arrow, press circle or R2 to get over them. For combat, you normally, when in a combo, will be locked to that target. But if we change the combat targeting settings from fixed to free, you are actually able to mid-combo change directions. And that just feels way more natural, while you can of course still just focus on one enemy if you want. Another trick has to do with the limit break and synergy abilities. Like, totally check them out if you want, but the game will actually not slow down during these moves like in Final Fantasy 16. So it's actually smarter to switch to a different character after selecting a limit break or synergy ability to still unleash other attacks while your other party members are doing this very cool move. So they can get way more out of the enemy stagger or increase your regular damage output. And got more tips to increase your damage output, but let's first look at a mistake. You can namely miss some amazing materia that will save you a lot of time. So it's really hard to skip the first AP up you can get in chapter 3 in the mine. Like, you will just pass by it. So you probably have it already if you got to this point, but there are 4 of these in total, and 2 others can also be earned throughout the story. So handy to immediately grab them when you're able. Because the AP up Materia is of course amazing. Link it to a different Materia and that Materia will level up twice as fast. Again, that will save you quite some time. For the second one, you need to complete a VR challenge from Chadley that becomes available in chapter 7 called Badlands Beast. And to be able to do this VR challenge, you need to kill 2 creatures first, a seahorse-like one that you can find over here, and a silver chimera. And you find that one over here on the map. So complete these 5 challenges in the coral region and then complete the VR challenge to get another AP up Materia. And in chapter 11, you can also find a VR challenge, Catonian Rondo, that unlocks the third AP up Materia. For this, you also need to kill 2 enemies that you can find over here and over here in the region that you go to in chapter 11. When you get to this point, you will know what to do. So yes, don't make the mistake of skipping these to level up your Materia way faster throughout the game. And 2 Materia that really benefit from an upgraded level can only be earned in the grasslands, so the first region in chapter 2. Also talk to Chadley here, and then you want to get the first strike Materia from the Horror on the Range VR challenge. But for this, you also need to complete open world fight challenges. You find one here and the other one here. And Provoke is another amazing Materia you can miss if you don't do the Natural Order challenge, and for this you have to kill the creatures over here in the grasslands and over here in order to do the VR challenge. And sure, you can do these missions and get the Materia later on as well, but it's actually super helpful to get them ASAP so you can level up the Materia when playing through the game. For the first strike Materia, this means that you then begin a fight with way more ATB, so you get a nice head start. And the Provoke Materia takes the attention away from a party member when they get to low health, so give this to a tanky character like Barret, who also has the Steel Skin ability of course, and you got a great combo going. Or give it to Red, because when he blocks incoming attacks, he will fill the Vengeance gauge, and the AI is great at this by the way, so don't control him when he provokes enemies, and then switch to Red afterwards to immediately activate this powerful Vengeance mode. So yeah, in short, just check these VR challenges by talking to Chadley every time you reach a new region, because otherwise you will miss out on some super nice Materia. And same by the way for the Materia that you can develop, as there are new ones per region, and by doing just a few open world activities that you will likely just stumble upon when following the main story, you can already develop a few of those. And I by the way talked about some really special uses for these early game Materia from Chadley in my previous video that I will leave a link to in the video description, so totally check that out for way more tips and tricks. And one thing I saw people ask in the comments under that video was how to get back to the grasslands after reaching the Junon region. Well, you can unlock fast travel after completing the Stuck in a Rut side quest that you find by going to Gabe's Ranch, and you will likely not miss it when just following the main story, but if you do, get the side quest, and this will then also lead you to the Chocobo in this area. And that's another important thing, like make sure you unlock your mount in each region to more quickly get around, but also to reach every part of that region that you otherwise can't get to. Sometimes you can get the Chocobo as part of the main quest, but in the region that you get to in chapter 10 and the region in chapter 11, you will have to look for these Chocobo footprints on the map yourself to find them, or go for the side quest that will lead you there eventually. Another mistake I made was during chapter 8, because I did not get anything from the golden saucer vendors when I left that region. Now you can go back later on in the game, but it's way smarter to spend all the points you earned by doing the minigames throughout the main story to get special rewards. And especially the SP books that are for sale are really great to get the extra points that will of course help you throughout the rest of the game. Now good to know is that every shop has their own unique inventory with similar items, but yeah, different books for different characters. So check them all so you can get the books as soon as possible. Another pro tip has to do with the choices during interactions with your party members. It's namely smart to save your game when you are in a situation like this where you can like talk to different party members, because then if you pick the wrong choice, you can always reload that save and try a different option that will probably then advance the relationship further. Now sometimes it's hard to notice if you made the right choice, but you know for a fact that it's the right choice if you deepen your relationship with that character. Sometimes you're not at that point though, so then every choice will not deepen your relationship, but it's still nice to save during these points so you at least have the option to go back and pick a different choice if you have the feeling that you did something wrong. Subscribe for way more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth videos of course, like there's more going on with the choice system, we will discuss that further in a future video, and we got way more tips and tricks planned. Of course, a like on the video would really help me out, and check out our video on all the summons in the game and how to not miss them by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you very soon, goodbye.